Hey guys, what's going on? It's David here from Scizorxphlosion, and today we are bringing you guys another one of our Lost Thunder decks early. That's right. We've got Suicune GX. Suicune is a really interesting Pokemon from Lost Thunder. It's got an ability, an attack, and a GX attack, and it's really interesting to say the least. It's got some really cool support Pokemon in here that can help it turbo through its plays. And the cool thing that Suicune has going for it is the attack, its HP, and its ability to not be KO'd if it uses its attack, and then its ability to shuffle itself back into the deck. But we'll talk about that more as we get rolling with this deck profile, guys. Y'all be sure and like and comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We do videos every other day, so y'all stay tuned for those videos. We're going to bring you more Lost Thunder decks. Y'all support us on Patreon if you can. That's www.patreon.com/Scizorxphlosion. Even $1 if you guys contribute $1 to the channel. That helps us out tremendously, letting us bring you more of these deck profiles, more pack openings, and more battle videos. So y'all check out our Patreon. We've also got a Facebook. That is facebook.com/Scizorxphlosion. Y'all be sure and like us on there. And without further ado, guys, let's get on to the deck profile. To start off, guys, we got 3 copies of Suicune GX. Suicune, as I said before, is a really interesting Pokemon. He's got a lot of cool things that he can do, but he does need a lot of support to get rolling. So, first off, he has this Phantom Winds ability, and it says, once during your turn, when this Pokemon is on your bench, you may shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into the deck. Pretty cool. If Suicune is damaged, you can retreat him or use something like a Switch or Guzma, get him back onto the bench, and then use his ability to shuffle him right back into the deck, and then pull him right back out with something like Brooklet Hill or Nest Ball or Ultra Ball or something like that. Just keep your Suicunes alive, and it really works well with his attack, which is Cure Stream. For 2 waters and a colorless energy, does 120 damage, so it's pretty much 2 shots everything. And it says, during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attack does 30 less damage to Suicune. So basically, it is a powered-up version of Scizor GX's main attack. So you deal 120 damage, you take 30 damage from your opponent's attacks during the next turn, and it makes it as if Suicune has 210 HP, which is a really hard number to one-shot most of the time. And if your opponent cannot one-shot you, once you get your combo rolling, you can retreat your Suicune into a new Suicune. Use your other support Pokemon to move the energies to Suicune, and then shuffle this one back into the deck, then bring it right back out. You can bring it out next turn, or you can bring it out the same turn, either one you want to do. But yeah, Cure Stream is a really cool attack, and it's one of the main combos of this deck. Then you've got his GX attack, which is Brinicle GX. I think it's Brinicle. For 2 waters and a colorless energy, does 150 damage. Then you need to switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, which is Golisopod GX's GX attack. So, yeah, really cool things going for Suicune, and let's get into the rest of the deck and see how we support Suicune through his endeavor. To start off, we got 2 copies of Wooper. Wooper and Quagsire are some of the main support in this deck, and this deck needs Quagsire in order to function. And really, he's just a stepping stone to, of course, 2 copies of Quagsire. Quagsire is an awesome Pokemon, and I've said this before, he's probably the best thing to come out of Dragon Majesty. He's got that ability Washout, which says, as often as you like during your turn, you may move a water energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So this is really cool in combination with things like Aqua Patch, and also retreating your Suicune, because he only has a 2 retreat cost, so if he's fully charged, he's still going to have 1 energy left on him. So you move those energies to your new Suicune that you bring into the active, and then proceed with your attack once again. And he's also a decent backup attacker. He's got the Hydro Pump attack for 60 plus damage, and it does 20 more damage for each water energy attached to him. So with 3 water energies, you're hitting 120. So pretty decent numbers, and he's pretty strong non-GX attacker, but mainly he's there for his ability. Now, other cards we have to support this, believe it or not, 3 copies of Poipole. We actually played the Naganadel from Lost Thunder in this deck. And Poipole really is a stepping stone, like we always say with these evolutions. His Eye Opener is useful. You could use it if you wanted to. You can even peck your opponent, but what's the point in that? Really, you want to get him out just to get out your 3 copies of Naganadel from Lost Thunder. Naganadel is awesome, and he's going to be in a lot of decks. Y'all just stay tuned for that. He is going to be in a lot of decks. He may be the new Malamar. Who knows? But the things that make him so good, he's got 130 HP, which is substantially better than Malamar. He's got the Charge Up ability, which says once during your turn you may attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So y'all starting to see how the combo works. You want to have out at least one Naganadel, 2 preferably, and then your Suicune in the active and your Quagsire on the bench. You get that Suicune fully charged, 3 energies. Attack with your Cure Stream attack, and then you take 30 less damage from your opponent's attacks during the next turn. So here's the deal. They have to knock out the Suicune GX in order to keep it from retreating during your next turn. You retreat to the bench, bring up a new Suicune or some other attacker, use Naganadel's ability Charge Up to get those energies back from the discard pile, and then use Quagsire to move those to your active. So you have a fully charged Suicune. If you have one Naganadel out, all you have to do is Charge Up, and then have an attachment from the hand or something like an Aqua Patch, something like that. Or we do also play Beast Ring in here. Pretty awesome. You could play Beast Ring and then move those energies to your Suicune with your Quagsire. So a pretty awesome combo. And once you get that combo set up, I mean, you're set. Your opponent's going to either have to target down your Naganadel, your Quagsire, in order to stop your combo. So there we go. And then Turning Poison is pretty cool attack too. It does 80 damage plus. It says if you have exactly 3 prizes remaining, this attack is 80 more. So you can hit for 160, 190 with the Choice Band. Pretty awesome. And even without the Turning Poison dealing the extra 80 damage, as long as you have a Choice Band, you can one-shot Buzzwole GX, which is going to see a lot of play. Don't worry, guys. We're going to be bringing you that Buzzwole and Alolan Ninetales deck, which is going to be huge. Believe me, it's going to be huge. But anyway, on to the last few Pokemon in this deck. We've got 1 copy of Palkia, and we've opted to go for the water one in this version. And the reason why we do that is because we can search it out easily with Brooklet Hill whenever we need it, and leave it as a surprise for our opponent. So he's a good backup attacker. We're not even talking about Spatial Control, because it's not that good of an attack. We have Quagsire that does the exact same thing as an ability. But we've got Hydro Pressure, which is exactly the same as Quagsire's attack. Does 60 damage plus 20 more for every water energy attached to him. So with 3 you hit 120, with 4 140, 160, with 5, and so on and so forth. But you got also Zero Vanish GX, which is pretty awesome. I play this in my Lapras deck, and that's the main reason I play it, is for that GX attack. It does 150 damage, and for 5 energies you need 3 waters and 2 colorless energies, but we only play water in here. So you get to shuffle all your opponent's energy cards back into the deck attached to all their Pokemon, which is pretty disruptive. I mean, if you're playing something like Rayquaza and they have a whole bunch of energies on board, or even something like Bucephalon. If you have Bucephalon and they have a whole bunch of energies attached to their Bucephalons and also to their Naganadels, you shuffle all those energies back into the deck, forcing the Bucephalon player to have to search back out those energies. So, yeah, that's a pretty good move against Bucephalon. But there you go, 1 copy of Palkia GX. We also play 1 copy of Articuno GX. He's pretty cool to rush in there with that Legendary Ascent ability. Almost exactly the same as Tapu Koko's. And Legendary Ascent says, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, during your turn you may switch it with your active Pokemon, and if you do, move any number of water energies from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. So, it's almost the same as Tapu Koko, but Tapu Koko says you have to move the energies first before you move them to the active. You could use Articuno to move to the active and not attach any energies to him if you didn't want to. So yeah, he does have some really good uses. And sorry if you hear snoring in the background, my son just fell asleep. He's got the Ice Wing attack for water colorless, does 130 damage, and just this flat 130, just like Tapu Koko. But then he has this cool GX attack called Cold Crush GX, and you get to discard all energy cards attached to both active Pokemon. So it's good and it's bad, because the good way you get to discard all your opponent's energies, but then you also leave yourself vulnerable in the active spot. But we do have Quagsire and Naganadel to recharge this Articuno to retreat it if we need to, or we have things like Switch or Guzma or something like that. So there you go, 1 copy of Articuno GX. And to end out the Pokemon, we play 2 copies of Tapu Lele GX for that Wonder Tag ability to get us those supporters when we need them. We do not play a very thick supporter line in this deck, mainly just Draw and Guzma, but we'll get onto that here in just a second. And on to the supporters. Told you. 4 copies of Cynthia. Cynthia is your basic draw supporter for any Pokemon deck. Probably the best draw supporter in the format right now. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. We also play 3 copies of Guzma to target down those Pokemon we want to take down, and also to get our Suicune out of the active if we don't feel like retreating. If we want to save those energies on board, we can Guzma our Suicunes out of the active and bring in a fresh Suicune, or maybe even a Palkia or an Articuno, in order to deal some more damage, or in order to conserve those energies we have on board and use them for future attacks. Then you just use Quagsire to move them to the active. Pretty awesome. And then to end off the supporters, guys, 4 copies of Lily, just for that extra draw support. We do empty our hand a lot in this deck. We have a lot of ways to do it. We have Mysterious Treasure. We have Ultra Ball. We also think we have some other things in here. No, we don't. Never mind. Excuse me. But yes, we do play 4 copies of Ultra Ball, 2 copies of Mysterious Treasure in order to get those searches off, and we have to discard things in order to use those. So Lily is a great way to replenish our hand at once we do that. And it says draw till you have 6 cards. If it's your first turn, draw till you have 8. Really good first turn option. Next up, guys, we play a lot of item cards. 4 copies of Ultra Ball to get those searches off. Your standard search for any Pokemon deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand if you do search a deck for a Pokemon and add it to your hand. We've also got 2 copies of Mysterious Treasure. We do have 8 Pokemon in this deck that we can search out with Mysterious Treasure, the Naganadel line, plus the 2 Leles. So Mysterious Treasure is good there. We can also get some of our water energies to the discard pile for Naganadel's ability, and also we play a couple Aqua Patches in here, and they can work with that as well. Discard a card from your hand, then search your deck for any Psychic or Dragon Pokemon, and add it to your hand. 2 copies of Nest Ball for the setup. We can't play Elm's Lecture in here because none of our Pokemon have below 60 HP. Our Poipoles and our Woopers have 70, and of course the GXs are way too high to do that. So we need to use Nest Ball in order to get those Poipoles down, or those Woopers down, or even you can get Suicune down. So 2 copies of Nest Ball. 2 copies of Aqua Patch, just for a little extra energy acceleration. We do play the Naganadels to accelerate energy from the discard pile, but sometimes Naganadels aren't enough, and we need a little extra help in order to get those water energies back onto our Pokemon. It lets you attach a water energy from your discard pile to one of your benched water Pokemon, which isn't that big of a problem if we have Quagsire set up, because we can use Quagsire to just move those energies from the bench to the active. So 2 copies of Aqua Patch. 2 copies of Beast Ring. This card is busted, guys. I love Beast Ring. It's such a good card. And I think I've said that many times before, but y'all are going to keep hearing me saying it as long as Beast Ring is busted, which it'll always be. You can only use it if your opponent has exactly 3 or 4 prize cards remaining. Then you can search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to one of your Ultra Beasts. So this is good because we do play the Naganadels, and we always want to have Naganadels down, and even Poipoles and Ultra Beast as well. So if we get a Suicune knocked down in the early game, have trouble setting up, use the Beast Ring, get those energies into play, and then start taking your knockouts with your Suicune and do your combo where you heal them all up. So 2 copies of Beast Ring. 2 copies of Choice Band. Choice Band is just there to hit a few extra numbers. Most of the time it's best on Naganadel when you have the 3 prize cards remaining. Or with Articuno you can hit the 160, which is pretty awesome. Palkia as well, if you have a whole bunch of energies on board, say you have the 5 you need in order to use Zero Vanish GX, you just attach the Choice Band. You can take out things like, you can take out Cephalon because you are water anyway, but you can also take out like Rayquaza or opposing Tapu Leles, opposing Palkias if you do see those around. So 2 Choice Bands is really great for that. 2 copies of Switch. Switch is good to get those Pokemon out of the active and get them onto the bench. Suicune in particular. You get him back onto the bench without having to retreat those energies off, and then move the energies to the active. Save your charge-ups for later turns, and just get those Naganadels full of energy. And then whenever you need to switch out, you got those Naganadels ready. So Switch is awesome for that purpose. And to end off the items, 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. We do play a lot of combo pieces in this deck, and if any of them get discarded, it could be bad for us. So we need those Rescue Stretchers in order to get those combo pieces back into our hand or into our deck. You can either choose one, pick one, put one Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. We do play a couple stadiums here, guys. It's a water deck, so naturally we play Brooklet Hill. 2 copies. Once during each player's turn, that player can search the deck for 1 basic water or 1 basic fighting Pokemon and put it onto their bench, then shuffle their deck. Good for getting those Whoopers out so we can start getting them evolved, or even good for researching out Suicune after you shuffle him back in with his Phantom Winds ability. So 2 copies of Brooklet Hill. Then we've also got 1 copy of Ultra Space. Just the 1 copy because we do play Mysterious Treasure and Ultra Ball in this deck, so we do need it every now and then in order to get set up. It's awesome if we start it and we can get down a Poipole first turn. As long as our opponent doesn't discard it next turn, we'll be able to get us an Ganondorf as well. So 1 copy of Ultra Space. And to end off the deck, guys, we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 copies of Water Energy. We need a lot of Water Energy in this deck in order to get them to the discard, have them in our hand to get them to the discard pile, and then also have them in hand for our energy attachment for the turn. So that is it, guys. The deck profile is right here. All the cards you need right there. If you have any questions about the deck itself, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have. This is our personal build. It is not a build off of... the only list I've ever seen of Suicune was that one that did well at a Japanese League Cup. But this is not that list. This is our own personal build. We've done some changes to it to make it more consistent for us. Me specifically, I've been the one working on this. So, y'all let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Suicune's cool? Do you think Suicune's kind of a dud Pokemon? Do you think it could be going somewhere? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, and I will try to respond to that comment as soon as possible. Like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video. And this is David from Scizorxphlosion, and we see you guys all next time.